Does the NightFox only post his dubs? We're about to find out! It's game number 2, Alpha XY, a map by the Shambler. We've seen it undergo a few changes since its inception. I can confirm these mineral fields are no longer stacked. And unfortunately, these things are kind of busted. Oh, I got a color guess. Thanks for reminding me, Top Ramen. So it looks like down here we have the deep periwinkle of Mr. Hamster. Wait, is this deep periwinkle? Okay, it was. And this is, of course, the everybody's favorite Sunglow Terran, the NightFox, in the top right. I'm really grateful that they didn't actually say the name of the color, because that would stop me from guessing. And I was pretty sure it was either Magma or Sunglow, and it was too bright to be Magma, so I knew it was Sunglow, but I didn't want to, like... I gotta start from the top left, or the left player, and then the right player afterwards. You gotta do that. That's just how things go, left to right. That's how we read. Unless you're Japanese, but I don't speak Japanese. It's a Zork's Rush from Hamster, so this is already going to be interesting. Double Stockade from the NightFox, and this map is it's got a lot of, like I would say it's got a significant rush distance. I wouldn't really recommend doing something like this if your gut reaction or gut attempt here is going to be related to, like, if you're trying to win in the beginning, at the very beginning, then that's what you got to do. That is what you got to do. But on a map like this, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work out. We're about to find out. Also, I will, you know, I always like to have some kind of funny thing to say at the very beginning of my casts. We've got a third stockade coming here, by the way. But I did want to mention that even though I just said, does the Fox only post his dubs? Hey, if Fox wins this and it's a banger game, I don't really care. You know, as long as it's a banger game. It would be amusing that I only got 2 replays and they said that they played many more. Of course, then he's going to come out all Giga Chad pose and be like, yeah, actually, I won every game. Oh, and then, you know, he only posted the curated dubs that were super good. So with Triple Stockade, you do end up delaying your ministry for expansion pretty heavily. However, you will probably end up going for a fast star pad. That being said, Fox has not harvested any Vespene. He's trying to play like me. And oh my god, he's snuck past the early units. Well, the Lake is probably going to make short work of this guy. He's holding him up, you know. The Lake is supposed to be doing damage here, doing something. He's a running man. Dude, what kind of maniac maverick? Yeah, get him. What do I do here? Well, the circuit has been morphed. Man, this really is kind of all in from Hamster. I don't know how we're going to get deep into this game. Like, how does he expect to ever do anything? I know he's got a Gorg coming to deal with the Maverick, but... he could just kill him with a worker. Or that. Yeah, that works too. So we've got 11 Mavericks. Make that 14 Mavericks. The Zorius are going to need to scout on ahead. They are not being policed. You do not want to charge the front ramp here with this. That is not what you want to do. Good ensnare there. Yeah, that kind of works out. But yeah, look at how low these Zorius already are. Like, Mavericks are no joke, dude. There goes one of the Lakers already. Jumped upon immediately. Yeah, he's doing some good splash damage, but he will indeed be able to reveal that Lakers. This could be a big problem. Oh, he's got to get him after all. The fancy footwork there. It was a good move, but that could have gone so horribly wrong. Now, I don't think he caught the Gorg. The single Gorg is going to arrive. It will be brought down summarily by the Mavericks. I don't think we're going to be running into any issues from that anytime soon. Like, I highly doubt it'll get a kill, but well, hold on. He's not pulling back with the... He's not doing it. He's going to lose multiple Masons. I thought he would just pull those 3 Mavericks, stem them, and get to going. By the way, no expansion from Hamster just yet. That's 5 workers killed by this Gorgor. 6 workers killed. Make it 7. Mulched. Absolute devastation. He's going to leave too, just insult to injury. I highly doubt that Gorg will do much of anything going forward. That is going to be a forward circuit, interestingly enough. We do have the single Lake is here to counter the push forward. And he's only got a small handful of Mavericks here. This is not going to be quite enough to deal with what he needs to deal with. And all of a sudden, he has to cancel his plans of trying to end the game. 1 Watchdog has gone through. You know, Hamster would be dead to rights if that Gorg did not get so many kills. 100% would have been, like, the end of him. He could also try to stand here and kill these Mavericks. That would be a possibility. Looks like he will attempt to do just that. Ah, he didn't have the guts. If you attack that Maverick once, he dies. And then you just fly away. Would have been a good move. Would have been a good move. Slowly creeping forward is Hamster with his Lake is his 2 Zoryus. The Dino Men. He needs 48 of them. If you could start a match of Cosmonarchy with 48 Dino Men, I think you'd take that every day of the week. Especially if you're Grass Eater, because you know it'll lag the FFA. Second Watchdog established here for the TheNightFox. He's got to rebuild his broken economy. He's nursing it. The Droleth coming out here just to see what's up. And immediately falls back. Hey, what's up? I'm a Gorg. Ah, he died. Shout out Arbuz Budesh for that corpse. Now I want to see Arbuz Budesh make some more corpses. You know, we need like the... We need all sorts of corpses, you know, so I'm just saying. I'm just saying, Arbuz, you ever feel like making some? Highly recommend getting some action. I love the scouting the Gigunda main. Is it on patrol? It is. He's patrolling in case of a drop or something. I don't know. I guess it's just a spot. He doesn't need him on the front right now. I would kind of like to have seen Hamster attempt to like take a more aggressive stance on his natural, but I guess he didn't really have the military to deal with that, right? He's only got the 2 Lakes right now. Kind of just dancing around here, seeing if he can poke at the extremities. If he can force a stim out, you know, that's still pretty good. That's permanent damage. We don't have any healing for the TheNightFox. No Mason to repair the Mavericks on the front line. He is going to go ahead and use the Lakizilisks to the best of his ability to continue pressuring. We got some Harakans coming. If they could get across the map, that would be one thing. Very, very wounded Maverick is guarding the base directly above that patrolling Zoryus. And a star pad is finally on the way. Well, he's thinking about diving in. Remember, a couple of spines will do the trick. Many Harakans. He's got plenty of bio overall, but he's not sending them across the map. He's probably going to want to try to drop. And that's actually, if you go bio, it's so much more likely that you're going to see a drop. Like, you can still mech drop, obviously, but bio just fits with drops very easily. You're spending less gas overall, so you can fit the star pad and the Trojans in. So it looks like, finally, these Mavericks will be cleaned up. He tries to get a little bit of more damage onto the Zoryus, but it's not going to go ahead and get a confirmed kill. Still has an economic advantage, obviously has that second base mining. We need to see probably 2 expansions at the same time from Hamster if he wants to decidedly take the game back by the, you know, the economic side of things. If he wants to take the bull by the horns. But now we've got a Fulcrum coming up. I do think that the next big assault from Fox is probably delayed, so you could conceivably take this base. It did receive a few defensibility improvements overall, like this is like an extra lane, and this is an area that your enemy is most likely going to come through for a direct assault. Otherwise, they kind of have to pivot back and forth. I guess that's all right. That's something. Instead, it looks like Hamster wants to move across the map. The best cover for an expansion is sometimes an attack, so I guess he wants to play, even though this is not, like, it sounds like expanding twice would be more conservative. I can see an argument for why the attack over the expansion is actually the more conservative option. You're confirming that you're going to keep your opponent on their side of the map and threaten them, like, do you dare send out drops and thus weaken your position? Because there's a lot of Lakes here. The Ant-Seals are out. Fox recognizing he needs the detection for that. If they establish a forward position, he could be in deep doo-doo. But, I mean, I don't know. There's 9 Lakes. This could be very deadly. We're going to see if Hamster can actually break it. A couple of them don't end up getting burrowed until maybe a little bit too late. A lot of the Harakans have gone down, but the stimmed Mavericks have pulled back very, very nicely. Remember those Ant-Seals. There's no anti-air here for Hamster. We could see a burrow here and just finish this army off, but it looks like he's going to go ahead and be a little bit more defensive. Yeah, you cannot engage with those Lakes when they are burrowed and there's enough distance between you and them. So Fox does wisely fall back, but he holds, and that's the significant part of it here. He's going for Cyclops. That's an interesting choice. Double Vestry. He's going to go ahead and pull his Stockade out. He's made a 3rd Ministry. Triple Vestry. So it looks like he's going to be spamming Clerics. I mean, economically speaking, you can't really mass-produce Shamans on the 2-base eco, but he does have the ability to get that 3rd base soon. He just wants to keep making Masons for the time being. So keeping that economy in his favor as the base for Hamster isn't even done spreading its Kagra. That's how new it is. And a very fast Khaz'trith. He wants to play a little bit more on the defensive side. Now, Khaz'trith Lakes are absurd, so I do not begrudge him this choice. That being said, I I'm not 100% sure how Fox intends to navigate from this, but it looks like he's going to 2-base tier 2. You know, this is something that a lot of Terrans have. It's been like a hot contest. Like, as Terrans, do you get your tier 2 on 2 bases? Do you get it on 4 bases? There's not really too many 3-base actions for it. I guess probably because it's easier to go from 3 to 4 than it is from 2 to 3. Like, getting to the 3rd base is the hard part. So if you've secured that, you can probably secure a 4th, and then it's just a little bit more possible. But despite all of that, I mean, we got a couple of Cyclops slowly massing up at the front doorstep. We got these 2 Fulcrums producing. It is going to be a lot of Mavericks, a lot of Clerics, as predicted. And the Atlas is over 50% complete. Over 50%. Now, the Ski-Backed is going to be the tech of choice for Hamster. He's also making a couple of Nathricors, probably just for general scouting. Remember, the Cyclops are still patrolling over there. He's got his sortie of Ovoleths, and they are going to be escorted by a Gorg. I love this, because you don't want to give the game away that you're planning to drop. And if you see more than one Ovoleth in a spot, it's probably a planned drop. So if you can, you know, just sort of make sure that there's no scouting units blocking your bases, and, you know, the 4 corners of the earth are being covered here by Fox's work. Atlas is complete. Treasury going to lift over there. I don't know what this ministry is for. Then maybe it'll be for an anvil later. Yeah, this Gorg is going to actually get caught by the Maverick. We'll see if Hamster properly defeats it. You know, Fox could still discover the Ovoleth here, but instead he's not quite going to react in time. And yeah, the Gorg needs to scout ahead as well, just to confirm, like, okay, is there anything else over here? The Nats are doing kind of the same thing. Vultures sweeping on over. They might end up laying some mines and causing some mistimed movements here, but instead they're kind of just, they're holding back. Okay, Hamster's threading the needle. Behind this, the Madrigals are being made for the anti-air threat. That is not really going to be too big of a deal. Now, if the Zets get unloaded and get around that Atlas, we could see a tech snipe of sorts, especially if the Nathricors can stay alive, because they do rend the armor a little bit. Just by 1. But it looks like instead it will just be going after some of the Watchdogs. Maybe a Stockade will go down. Looks like indeed it will burn down. And the Zethicors are going to go ahead and fall back. A lot of those air units did end up falling back for that Treasury as well. A couple of Zets made the beeline for the Masons. Actually, the Mason count is pretty low. There's only 14 Masons over here. Yeah, this Treasury is going to be zoned away. I feel like this mostly just succeeded in tying Fox up. This has allowed Hamster to get another base up and running, but it feels like, I usually feel like drop attacks are only very useful. Ooh, good Minesweeper Zeth right there. That was actually very valuable for Hamster. But I do feel in general that you're only going to get much value from drop attacks if you're channeling that at the same time you're timing that with some other move. Oh, that's a cute little spot for a Circuit. A couple of vultures are going to... Oh, the Zeth actually has some claws. I was going to say these vultures are going to maybe snipe the larva. Not really much for them to do, but they confirm the 3rd base. I just feel like overall, the drop attacks are only going to be super valuable and super consequential, unless your opponent screws up a little bit, maybe, if you chain them with some other action elsewhere on the map. At the very least, Hamster did expand behind it. But he is slow to expand. His economy is worse than that of his opponents. I guess you could say that Hamster is up against an army that is not very synergistic and is also in the middle of a transition. Like, the few basic mech units that have been made by these Fulcrums before the add-ons, and the bio with healing, they don't really beat Bactylisk Lakizalisk, right? Like, that's not really going to help them out too much. They need Phalanxes to break the Khazitra. That is like one of the options you have. I mean, if you have tier 2, you can go air as well. There's many things that you can do, but I think Phalanxes are a good answer to Khazitra, especially if they're going to be enchanting units that are up top. Oh, the Cyclops run by could be deadly. Yeah, as soon as you see that, you got to fall away. This is going to be a massacre of workers. Prepare to hold yourself and console yourself, because that, well, actually, it wasn't too bad. Sometimes it's a lot worse than our imagination. And that was one of those times. These Ovoleths are actually empty right now, but they might go ahead and try to sync up with some more moves. Attempted run-bys from vultures that have already laid their mines. Not a bad move there. Not a bad move. The Gorger Corps could move through 9 o'clock a little bit and clean some of these units up. Maybe send those vultures packing. Meanwhile, we do have Apostles coming out. There's more captaincies being added. We've got Mavericks, Arakans, Cyprians being added as well, for that matter. Not really reeling from the single loss of the... the Stockade earlier. He's just transitioning into higher tier bio. Now, this is going to scramble the warning signs, because these ovulots are kind of sat here, and again, it's not really as a bait. They're going to fly back and forth, back and forth. When you're detecting the transport, you can just click on them and see if they have anything. It doesn't look like Fox has done that, but that would tell him that actually these are just baits. Like, there's nothing in here, right? Because there's no text that pops up indicating that there's something in the transport. So that Gorg will finally be put down, cause some trouble, some heckling. I mean, he's pulled the army out of commission, out of position, but he's not really doing anything with that, right? Hamster's not currently actuating his tempo advantage there. We got mantles coming up as well, the higher tier bio, and soon to be joined by higher tier mech. It's going to be a pretty significant composition for Fox. I don't really see an immediate solution for Hammy, as he was described as before. There's no gas bank for the man, so our Russian Zerg player is going to have a hell of a time trying to compete with tier 2. It's not exactly the most synergistic comp just yet either, but Apostles are, you can't really go wrong throwing them in your comp. I mean, you can, but they're pretty good units. That's a ramp tile. Sentinel up and running. This Mason is spied on by the Zephyr core that's burrowed there. Eventually they will reveal it, and the Sentinel will kill it. A couple of bio units getting engaged on by the Zets. Yeah, you don't want to fight the Bactylisks. Big force off to the left-hand side here for Fox, but he doesn't want to make the charge on. He's worried about defending his position for the Zerg, and there it is, yeah. As soon as they return, oh, move that goddamn watchdog, you lunatic. He is pulling his whole army back. Yeah, there was a window of time here where I think maybe Fox could have ended it just by diving in, forcing the issue, or at least pulled Hamster's force back by committing with that big mech force. He's just going to hold back. He's got his static defense set up. And the Goliaths are in a good position to help out as well. They're going to absorb a lot of the pressure. We've got a lot of Bactylisks being mutated on the front lines. The bounces do make short work of the Ant Seal, so that'll be it for detection. We don't have any frontline Lakids, so the Burrow is not going to be worried about too much. Bounce attacks are going to be pretty good versus the Apostles as they are engaged upon. A more defensive option overall, but they're running out of things to revive, it feels like. Now the Bactyls have to fall back as the Goliaths attempt to frontline, but no, yeah, he's trying to charge forward so he can turn up some of those Zerg units. And all of the Bactyls kind of converge their attacks onto the frontline units if they're out of position. Need to see some more target fire there from the Bactyls as they are starting to turn the tide. Not enough corpses. We did see a bunch of Zerg units move somewhere, but I don't know where they went. They must have been mulched by some static D. And it looks like that'll do it for the force that Fox has. He will end up probably having to lose this base, but hey, Hamster's pulling his punches as the Cataphracts walk back. Big expenditure of the army by Fox, and a fourth base taken by the Zergs. So again, Hamster's been behind when it comes to the economy for quite a bit. I'm not super stupefied by the army comp that Fox has achieved. I do think that you need some more phalanxes for backs, or maybe something else that's like long range. Obviously, they're pretty good units en masse. And you can get away with, if you have like Durandals to run them down, that's another option. I guess Autocrats could also do the job in theory, but right now he's making Heracles for the front line. I think he's accurately recognized that in this situation, he needs like a mixture of artillery and frontline, and the staying power is going to come from Clerics and Apostles if he can fit those into his build as well. But he's got a good money bank right now, so there it is. Yeah, he's going to go for those Clerics. As of right now, though, it will be some time, and as predicted, Hamster will pull the trigger on finishing this base. A couple of Sentinels will make it a little bit expensive for Hamster to clear, but that will be dead workers, and Hamster, for the first time, is actually going to achieve an economic lead. I am very surprised to see that, but it's not an unwelcome one. Now, Fox has to go back to the drawing board. Durandals, phalanxes galore. His Goliaths were doing a good job overall, I will say. As of right now, the Zorius have reinforced. That's going to be a key ingredient for Hamster as well. A single lobotomy mine not going to offer too much resistance. Durandal's trying to be channeled by the Clerics. The Clerics do boost armor. That's going to be a big factor here, and this smaller, more congested pathway is going to be very significant because Hamster simply cannot contend with all of the phalanxes. Now, is Fox making a mistake by falling into his own trap? It does feel like he's lost a lot of frontline units. He's got a bunch of Cyprians as well. A couple of units being waypointed into the wrong location overall. Ah, yes, take the Rilla Row Core. It's beautiful. Yeah, this is where we're starting to see the limits, right? You know, Tier 2 fully operated. Fully accentuated. The phalanxes are a great addition as well. Of course, you're never going to see me complain about seeing Hurakan Cleric either. They're very, very good tier 1 units. And hey, the Cyprians aren't too shabby either, especially once you get the Durandal and Hurakan armor rends. A couple of units are going to be sent over this way, and they will be revealing another little prong from Hamster. He is mutating a bunch of Bactylisks. He's very much committed to this. He does have tier 2 money, but he just spent most of it on the Bacts. That being said, he has the gas in excess, so he can go for that. Looks like another base is going to be attempted in the bottom right. Where is his tier 2 going to be? That's my question. Another treasury established. Autocrats. Apostles. Okay, the next round is going to be Reclaimers. He's got a bunch of Autocrats out already. And there's the tier 2 in the natural for Hamster. So, okay, he might be able to extend this a little bit further. We're getting into that 20-minute mark, and he's only now getting to tier 2. The signs of our time as he attempts to win the game with basically pure Bactylisk. Azorius is going to endanger that top base. Big army engagement going to be set up over here. The Phalanxes need to get the hell out of dodge or deploy, as we see them doing right now. There is no focus fire from Hamster on them. There was an opportunity for all those Bactylisks to pick the Phalanxes, and I think that would have routed the Terran for some time. Autocrats being focused down as well by the Bactylisks. It's not ideal. I think the Cleric count has been dwindled too much for this army to be decisively winning from Fox, but still he's going to push forward. I mean, this ball of Cataphracts is going to be very difficult for just pure Bactylisk to deal with. Look at all of them. Another reinforcement army has been sent over to deal with the Zorius, so at least there is that. Reinforcement sending there as well. Tier 2 complete for Hamster. Okay, he's going to try to continue his attack to the top left. We're getting into that split map scenario. Bottom right taken. Nothing in top left, though, for Fox. Yeah, still... So he is still down a base, basically. As soon as this one gets established. Matravel Nest on the way. I was just thinking that. Versus the Reclaimers, you use the Convolutk. Works out super well. Because it creates all the Rilla cores, and then your Apostles are only going to be able to, regenerate chaff, basically. It's not really going to give you too much effective health in the army, right? Lifting the treasury, he wants to see if he can make something happen over there, but there's a couple of Hydras that have been left over wisely to guard. All of our players are getting pretty good at just leaving a couple of units in key locations here and there to dissuade free expansions. And that is going to be an interesting thing. When that penny really drops, then that becomes such a baseline expectation of high-level play. I mean, we've seen Fox do it all game, this game. We've seen Hamster start to do it in this particular match, and in the last one as well. He had a couple of units in a few key locations. Pretty neat there as well. Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, that's something that you really gotta think about. Okay, I see the angle manifesting here. We've got Iroleths on the way. We've got Khaz'trith Cesians mutating. He wants to take some of his Khaz'triths and put them on the front line to amplify his army's power using the Iroleth. I'm all for it if it can work, but my man, that's going to be an interesting choice. Unfortunately for this Mason, I don't know that we're going to see the Rilla Rocors. Yeah, okay, there you go. That's going to have to be canceled as well. A couple of units are going to be sent over there. Of course, Reclaimed Zerg, very thematic. Just going to go ahead and clear that area. Do we see any gas caps? Okay, the reservoir is up here for main and natural, and third. Okay, so it's really just this fourth base that he's sort of dragged his feet on capping. That being said, Hamster has done so in, I think, every base. He's doing so in every base, I should say. Still no saturation in the bottom right, though. Bactylisks are going to get probably splattered by the army for Fox as soon as he deploys his Phalanxes. I think we need to see another round of Clerics or something so he can heal his units, but we'll see how that one ends up going. All right, Terran army moving in. We've got the Matrolets there. They can throw down the Vilgalets, and that's going to make the Apostles way less effective. It doesn't even look like they're necessary right now because here we go. The Bactyls are pushing through. Sieged Phalanx is not the best at dealing with all of those, bounce attacks. There's no armor on a Sieged Phalanx. Whereas in tank mode, it has 4 armor. So a very, very big difference there. Well, he hasn't actually taken top left, but he can do it. And he's cleared out the 2 Hydras in that position as well. So I guess you would call that the 2 o'clock position. Yeah, he could take 2 o'clock at some point if he so desired. Some workers slowly waypointing their way over to the bottom right, not mining just yet. There's some splattering happening. The Phalanxes are in a really good position here. And he doesn't really have any monstrous engagements as, opportunities for monstrous engagement. If he could get some, like, Tetzoricor drops or something, even Iziricor drops on top of the Phalanxes, I think the Arbaleths would move fast enough and have enough durability that they wouldn't just outright die to that. Even just some Zorius could do the trick. But look at this. This base is going to see some Burrowed Workers. And it looks to me like Fox is going to do his best to keep a contest going here. And hey, if he successfully keeps this base held and, he's going to go ahead and destroy that base, he's calling the bluff. Like, Hamster, you either go and defend that base, especially if I can successfully defeat this one, with my Phalanxes slow pushing. You've got to either engage my army as it is right now and win, or you've got to deal with my force over here, at which point maybe my main army moves in. That being said, this main army is a lot easier to deal with than it was moments ago. I don't know if a bunch of them got moved out, or maybe it was because of the fact that the Phalanxes weren't deployed, making me think that. Let's see. Multiple Khaz'Trits deployed. That's going to really massively force multiply those armies. They don't stack, but the first one is an insurance policy on the second. There it goes. It's going to be gone down, but still, I think maybe Hamster's going to be able to break through here. The Cataphracts are enduring for what feels like an eternity. The Phalanx count is starting to falter, and there we have it. The Bactylisks are able to mulch through them. Got some reinforcements coming in, but I feel like it's much too little, much too late. They might have been game-changing earlier on, but as those reinforcements hit from the other flank as well, coming in and descending upon that fourth base, Hamster feels like he didn't win that fight decisively enough, and he had nothing in reserve to deal with that extra base. So, hey, it turns out that TheNightFox does only post his dubs, wink, but actually wonk, because it was pretty good. So I'll keep that as a dub for me, and for all you watching at home as well. GG's, we'll be back tomorrow for more Cosmonarchy. Join me for that. And otherwise, just stay tuned in our Discord server for more games and more exciting announcements. Peace.